Alright. Recording, but just in the background. So, last time was a bit of a shit show, to say the least. I mean, we will assign blame as we go on, I assume. But main thing, first things first, is I think we need to give out some XP for last session before we do anything else. Did I actually give any? No, I didn't give any XP last session. So, okay, what do I have written down here? So, Filberto, 1 point into your intelligence. That's free. You can just use that. There's now you get an extra point to your intelligence. Right. There will be some weird things happening in this session, right? And some more abilities will unlock for you guys as you go on in the story as well, if you survive that long.
This is scary.
Yeah, things will be revealed as we go on. So, Dennis, let me just get my notes up here because I made some other notes. Right. For anyone watching who doesn't know what Blackcoats is, Blackcoats is a post-apocalyptic Western-style role-playing game, dark Western fantasy role-playing game. Think lots of steampunk things going on, lots of Western tropes in there. Vampires exist, werewolves, all sorts of things going on. And the players are playing agents of the Blackcoat Agency, which is, they're called Blackcoats, and they wander around basically trying to get rid of demons and lichens and vampires and evil magics and things like that. And also they're intelligence agencies for the government too. Or torturers, or just lunatics, as we've been finding out over the past couple of weeks. So, let me just get my... There we go. There's my rules. Wonderful. And pop that over there. And I'll tell you what I'll do. I will... window capture, that's it. Alright. So on the recording, you should be able to see the rules now. So this is what the rules look like. So let's have a look down here. Cause, there we are. So, Dennis, 1 point into your swiftness, because you were definitely using that last time.
Okay.
And Sangan, 1 point into your mind.
Shiny.
Mm-hmm.
I can see things, guys.
Yeah. All right. So, I think it's only fair that we start in media res in action. Let's just go for it. Okay. I'm just gonna.
Are we gonna discuss what we did right after waking up with like the corpses and stuff?
Well, we're gonna find that out in the next couple of minutes. So, we are starting quite a cinematic way this time around. We're going to be going straight into it with Dennis. It's cold. It is very, very cold where you are right now. You are not having fun, to say the least. You are running across a vast wasteland. A vast white wasteland. You don't know how long you've been out for. Your tread is hammering into the floor as you're pushing yourself onwards, and you can hear riders behind you. Right? And these aren't normal. These don't sound like normal bandits. They're not firing into the air. They're coming straight for you, right behind you. And you get a sense of one shot goes over your right shoulder and hammers straight into the snow as you're driving yourself onwards away from these riders. What are you doing right now? What are your aims right now? You've not seen the other two since you woke up, and you've been wandering for a couple of weeks now in the wastes on your own.
So, do I get a feeling that what's chasing me is human at least?
You can use your vampiric powers to stretch out and see if you would like to.
A bit of a waste, even if they're humans or not, I still need to run away.
Um,
Is there like any is it like just flat ground all around?
Flat ground all around. You are on a slight rise though. It's not a hill, but you are going slightly, up rather than flat.
Okay, how far behind me are they?
I would say do a perception check for me. So that's mind and perception. So add those two together and roll some dice.
But no, so just mine, so just 3d6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now to find out how to roll again.
Okay.
Ooh.
So you can't really get a sense that the snowstorm's too virulent. You guess around maybe 200, 300 meters behind you.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you're gonna do ones, that's the roll to do them on. You doubt they've got the best of intentions.
Yeah, I do figure it out. The question is like if it's a flat ground and they're on horses and I'm not, and then running out away is not really much of an option.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'd reposition my chains so they protect my vitals somewhat, so the head and the heart area,
Mm-hmm.
and keep running for now. And if they seem close enough to drop a stick of dynamite behind me to catch them, then I do that.
All right,
I should at least survive some shots.
you have your chains. You don't have any other weapons. Anything on you. Either it's been stripped from you when you were asleep. I'm going to go back into your mind. So when you woke up, you were in the wreckage, or you've been dragged a couple of 100 meters away from the wreckage anyway, of the train that was annihilated in the last session. Snow was covering everything, so you don't know how long you've been there for. You may have been there for a couple of days, you may have been there for a few weeks. But you've been wandering for a few weeks, living off the land, essentially. You have your chains, you have a few knives that you always carry if you're on your person, so either the person who was ransacking your body didn't find those, or they did, and they've taken away all the good ones. But and you fashioned some yourself. But you do have a few knives on you to hunt game with and things like that.
Okay, that's not nice then. How deep is the snow?
I'd say about 1 or 2 feet. So you're pulling your feet up and down, rather than actually running at full pelt.
Give me a second. I need to check how much a foot is.
Say you need to basically pull your leg out. Yeah, you can't just run flat out.
Okay, that's pretty deep. That's more than a half meter. So that means that I dive under the snow and like crawl under it to hide my position.
You could definitely give that a go.
Be more than half meter.
Yeah, so I would give that a go and like crawl underneath the sand to a different position so they would not instantly see where I am, because if they saw where I dived in.
All right, so we're going to be doing another roll. So we're going to do swiftness, because you're trying to do this pretty quickly, I'm guessing. And in terms of skills, you'll be using, if you have anything in sneaking, then you'll be using it in sneaking.
Sneaking, no, I have athletics and skullduggery.
Okay, skullduggery is more when you're trying to harm someone. So sneaking is basically what you're going to be using. So you're going to be using your swiftness and your sneaking. So you're trying to be really quick, trying to be really sneaky too.
So just swiftness in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fun one. Okay, that's good.
So you get yourself into the snow. You bed yourself down. You start ruffling yourself through the snow. It's freezing down here. You're already going numb, and you're already pretty weak because you're not able to eat that much. You're hearing the horsemen get closer and closer and closer. And you start hearing words being shouted to one horseman to the other. And one of them says, "Where's the freak?" And they're just shaking their heads like they're just looking around, and they've stopped. And in the end, they start firing shots into the snow randomly. kind of figured out what
Okay.
you've done,
At trade point, we've got
but they're
everything
trying
Yeah.
to see,
explorer
just see
with a
what the hell's
handsome-
going on. They're trying to make sure that, you know, they can find you, they can see you, but they can't see you yet.
Are any of them close enough for me to attack them?
I would say you wouldn't know that.
Right,
You're
not
gonna
from
have
the
to
sounds.
guess. Yeah. From the sound, you probably not in melee range. No. They're wary of you.
Okay, crawling closer to them seems dangerous, but I will lay in wait and like hear out for the horses where they are, like hear for them like walking around, trying to guess their positions. Like Dennis is already half blind, so I assume his hearing is pretty good.
Yeah. So you hear one of them get off his horse and like thump into the ground, and he starts walking around. And you can sort of hear his footsteps. Before you do anything though, gunshots ring out from behind you, and you hear the distinct sound of a bullet hitting a body and somebody dropping with a gasp. And a gunfight breaks out above you, as in you can see the crisscross of bullets as you're looking towards the sky, as you're lying there. And eventually, whoever the newcomers are, they appear to have won the fight. They appear to have driven off whoever was chasing you. And you can hear a gun being reloaded and then cocked again. Must be lever action. And he says, if you're out there, you should get out the snow. Come with me. If there's no
Is it someone I'd recognize?
no, it's not a voice you recognise.
On one hand, yeah, that does sound like a trap. On the other, it does also seem like they might attack me if I don't come out. Could I, like, there's like a lot of corpses lying around and I'm supposedly hungry. Can I sneak underneath the snow under one, drink some of the blood, and then come out?
Yeah, you can try it. That'll be yeah, swiftness again.
Oh god, it's all swiftness.
There would be some sneaking in as well. And they're going to try and find you.
Oh, for that one extra swiftness.
Okay, so
one success, and they have a fail.
Yeah, so they haven't seen you when you're moving forwards, and they're sweeping around, and you can hear one of them say, "Well, if you're out here, we don't mean you any harm. You need to come with us right now." And he just starts like he goes over to one of the horses that's fallen down and finishes it off with a knife, and pats it on the neck. And you can see him, but he can't see you. You're next to a body now. I'm gonna let you drink. You can drink a little bit. Not as much as you'd want to, but you know, you definitely got some of your vitality back.
Okay, fair enough. Can I grab the guy's weapon, the corpses?
Yeah, he does have a lever action rifle there. You can use it if you wish.
Okay, then I'd hide it in my pants and.
What, the lever action rifle?
Well,
How...
that's a big rifle to stick in your.
Big rifle.
Oh damn!
Okay.
Is that a rifle in your pants? Or you just happy to see me?
I guess I'd just put the rifle on the ground then, so in case they are aggressive, I could quickly grab it, and I come out and act non-threatening.
Okay, so you got the rifle like in your hand, but like you got your hand up like, hey, like I'm not.
Yeah, the rifle is like hanging, so if they try something, I could try quickly grabbing it and shooting. But it's not like I'm aiming it at them or even pointing it or even head on trigger. It's just like, if something happens, I can do something.
Okay, so you see in front of you there are several guys who are all in what looks like really heavy dusters. And they're wearing a lot of fur clothing as well, so the fur-lined dusters, and they're looking around. When they see you, they do turn their guns on you, but their fingers are not on the triggers. Like they're just as a precaution, and trying to make sure that, you know, they have you in their sights. And the leader says, "You want to put that down, son?" I don't care what you are. But if you try anything, we'll fill you with lead.
Well, I'm not the one pointing guns at you. You said you were not here to harm me, right?
Yeah, we're not here to harm you. We just don't want to make sure you don't harm us.
Fair enough. I put it up. I put down the weapon. And so why are you here for?
Said we got a town up that away, and he motions behind him. We've been sent out here to try and find, well, the last member of a group we got hauled up there. Crawled in a few weeks ago.
A group?
Well, 2 folks.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if it's the guys, but I was certainly with a bigger group here to begin with.
Ah, yeah.
You start-
And he just nods and looks a bit, not ashamed, but like, yeah. Says, yeah, they didn't make it, son, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I guess lead the way.
Alright, you wanna hop on me, right, bitch?
What?
Do you wanna hop on the back of my horse and ride, bitch, behind me?
Sure.
Or you wanna walk? Okay, cool. So he gets on his horse and like pulls you up. And you guys start plodding your way through the snow. And he says, as you're riding, he says, I don't know what the gatekeepers wanted with you, boy, but they seem to have a real hard on for you and your friends. As he just like pushing his way through the snow.
Oh, getting arrested, I guess then.
He just shrugs and goes, "What? No, gatekeepers aren't no law. No, there's outlaws, kind of like you guys, I suppose. But hey,
Jail is better than this place, anyway.
he nods.
They give you food there, right?
He nods and says, "Yeah. We'll feed you when we get in. Don't worry." So he's like plodding along. He goes, "Place we're going to is called Tombstone. It's just a couple of miles that away." And he like points down towards the in the expanse. You can sort of see what he means, like an outcropping of rocks, and there seems to be a frozen river that you're following when you follow his gaze.
Yeah, lovely name. Must be a beautiful place.
So, you guys are heading in that direction, and you can see that these guys are like good trackers because they're looking around and they seem to know where this frozen stream is, and they're following it. And even with your vampiric senses, you can hardly feel it. You can hardly see it.
How many of them is there actually? Like
There are
5
7.
or so?
There are 7. With you.
Okay, that's too much. That's too much to take out.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're taking you in. Before long, outriders come from the town, and they challenge the riders, and they give their credentials, and they start shadowing you in as well. So there's now about 15, all pulling the horses in, and eventually you get to what is it looks like a livestock town. Pretty run down. We are on the driftwood, after all. The wastes keep trying to reclaim cities out here, sometimes literally. And so, we are even past Glavia, we're past everything. We're way out in the boonies, way out in the sticks. And out here, you can see people are just trying to fend for themselves. These are people who've come away from the Dominion, and they've even come away from Glavia. So these aren't people who are, shall we say, law-abiding citizens. These are people who are generally quite, how do I put it, rough and ready. So you do see people around, like you do see people doing a bit of trading, you do see people doing a bit of, there are a few saloons that are open, and in general, you see, 10 to 15 fighters, like gunfighters, standing around, and they're there is a sheriff's office, but it looks pretty ramshackle. It doesn't look like this is a place that has any sort of official jurisdiction or anything like that. And eventually...
So it's like one of those Siberian colony towns, right?
Yeah. So he says, right, I'm taking this one to Mar Baker's. You guys just chill out. You guys just stay here. And the other riders just nod and like pull away. And he just rides towards this house. It looks like an outhouse or like an inn. That wastrels can sit in and things like that. And as you guys get off the horse, he hitches up and walks in. You can sort of hear like the clinking of his spurs as he opens the door. And you hear like the old woman in there. There's an old woman with ragged robes on. She's tending to a fire. And she says, "Oh, for fuck's sake, Jeff, just close the door. It's cold." And Jeff says, "Well, maybe the two in the back can stop fucking around now, because we found the third one." And she turns around, she looks at you, Dennis, and you look pretty haggard. You look pretty out of it. You got a little beard growing. You're skinny, even more than usual. You're feeling very weak. The blood's surging through you, so you're feeling a bit better. But still, you're not in the best frame of mind right now. And you catch a glimpse in the back of Sangern sitting on a cot, and he's just like he's just sort of leaning forwards, and he's tenting his fingers, and he's got his forearms on his laps. And you see, in a rocking chair nearby, there is Filberto taking a toke on a pipe. So these guys have obviously been fished out from where you were. But what would you like to do?
I guess I would have like a pretty nasty head wound.
Yes, you do.
Still,
You do.
from the bullet from being shot in the head.
You do. I would actually go as far as saying you have a scar.
Yeah.
At this point. Now, this scar is going to give you a +5 to intimidation if you're doing an intimidation roll. So you get plus another 5 dice to use if you're doing an intimidation roll. Okay. But your perception is a permanent -3.
Okay. What happens if that is now negative?
Perception is not a core stat, so nothing.
Okay.
It's just -3. Yeah, if it's a core stat, then you'd be dead. But yeah, it's not. So
Yeah, no, my question... So you just basically delete... If you have 0 perception at that stage...
-3. Yeah, and if you get any points into perception... the way I used to do it is that you had to go 1 by 1. Now, I actually think it's better to... As soon as you get any point in perception, it goes to 1. Right? You have -3 right now, but it goes to 1. But if you have to do a perception check, you're pretty much fucked.
Fair enough.
I'd actually say you pretty much can't do one unless what you're looking for is really obvious.
Fair enough. I can't see my hand in front of my face, basically.
Your right eye is white, like blind, just completely blind, and your left eye was never that great. It's fine, it works just fine, but it was never that great. You did wear spectacles, for instance. You know what I mean? So it's not like So you get a -3.
Yeah.
He's still gonna be able to use his rifle. Just gotta learn to use it with the other hand.
He's gonna learn to use it with the other hand. I'm not gonna do any sort of minuses to that because it's just you're Blackcoats. You're trained to use rifles with your hands. It's fine with either hand.
Fair enough. Well, yeah. I guess I guess I'll look at Dennis and be like, "Look what the cat dragged in."
Hello there, boss.
Sanger kind of looks up at that and just like oh, thank Christ. And just kind of gets up. It's good to see you're not dead.
Yeah. Although...
Yeah,
Sanger and looks
I
like...
had to drag myself through the snow for a little bit. Wasn't as lucky as you two.
I imagine that Sanger and Filberto weren't actually, weren't in great condition, right, Dean?
Yeah, you guys are not feeling too great. Are not feeling too fantastic right now. I would say, like Sangun, you didn't take any sort of like terrible damage in the last session, though, did you? You're pretty much okay.
Yeah, I didn't actually get hit. I don't think.
No.
I just.
No, so you're fine. So you don't need to do anything wrong. Wrong? You don't need to do anything. At this moment in time, though, yeah, you're feeling pretty weak. You haven't eaten in days in terms of normal food or the food that you normally partake in. So yeah, it's not. It doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great right now.
I think I'm just gonna shake my head and sit back down.
Yeah, it doesn't take very much for you to get lightheaded. You're feeling
Yeah.
a bit woozy.
Yeah, I guess I would have just remembered falling off the cliff and then remember, I guess, just being found unconscious or in some state of delirium. Not long after, I guess.
I would actually say you've had to go cold turkey. So you've been sweating and shivering this entire time, and you've been generally like, I would say Sangun's at the end of his tether because you've just been moaning this entire time.
Oh, okay. I was describing when I was picked up.
No, I mean you. From what you guys know, you guys were picked up by the people of Tombstone who came to investigate the wreckage, see if they could find anything. And you guys were just dragged out. You were the only guys who were alive, probably because of your, training and the fact that your bodies are very well honed to take damage. But yeah, like you were dragged out and taken to this town where you yourself, there is obviously there's no fix here. So you've been going cold turkey. It doesn't feel great. It feels terrible. Like you want to die at certain points. And you've literally been moaning about it, obviously, because you've got to, because for
agonizing pain, if nothing else.
Yeah, for a couple of weeks you've been absolutely ready to give in. You're just about coming on the other side of it now, though. You're just about coming over the other side. So you can, if you have an addiction, roll a d6 for me. Do you have an addiction?
No, I don't.
Okay, roll a d6. And let's see.
I don't actually have an addiction. I just happen to be a stoner.
Okay. So, Filberto, you don't. Yeah, if you were developing an addiction, it's now completely gone. Like you don't have any sort of I would say if you go back on it, it's going to come back 10 times worse. But right now, you don't feel like you need it. I need my fix, man. There's nothing like that. Nothing like that. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Carl.
Okay, I rolled for my addiction as well because I was a bit confused if I should.
Yes. So.
Yeah, I think I have to. Well, I think we both have to as well for blood. Well, you actually had blood, I guess.
Yeah,
no, I asked. The blood addiction I had was removed. I just have the opium.
Oh, wow.
Right. So you have been in sunlight. And so Sangun and Dennis, you were on 9 stress each.
I mean, I was in the middle of a pretty thick snowstorm.
Still daylight though, so it's pretty bad. That's why you haven't taken you haven't taken so much stress because you're still on 9 though, which is pretty hefty.
Did the blood drinking not do anything?
And this is for the sun. So blood drinking just resets you feel a lot better. So whenever a vampire feeds, they may choose how much stress that they relieve in doing so. Okay, so a dead body, I'm going to say remove 2 stress, just the 2.
Okay, so
down to
7.
Yeah, it's not living stuff. It's pretty nasty. It's just dead. Okay. So, you guys can reminisce, but Ma Baker does come in, and she says, I'm glad to see you're all back on the mend. Anyone who survived a crash like that, she just shakes her head and says, That was a government train. You guys you all redcoats or?
We're their
Yep.
boss.
What do you say,
I
Philberto?
was.
Yeah, I said we're their boss.
Oh, she just nods and says, "How do you mean? Like your government?"
Yeah, we're government.
She just nods and says, "Wow, okay."
I was a redcoat in training.
She nods and says, "Well, anyone who can survive a crash like that, if you guys want to take up a gun whenever you're ready and help out the boys, protect the town, yeah, I'll cover your room and board. You can stay here. Until then, just make sure you guys. Hey, do you want some stew?" She like points to you. Dennis says, "You're not in the skin
Just
and bone."
wanted to say that after I eat something, I can grab a gun and go to work right now.
Mm.
Just need some food first.
Yeah, she offers you stew. She's cooked stew. You can have some of that.
Oh yeah, I'll get some of
Better
that.
than nothing. Is there a whorehouse in this town? Like I asked.
Yeah, there is. But are you just asking her that to? No, did you just say that does nothing? Where's the whorehouse?
No. I just ask as generally. By the way, is there a whorehouse in this town?
Okay. And she says, yeah, but I thought you might want to get your strength up before visiting a place like that.
Got into something after I get my first paycheck for the whole guarding thing.
Well, you also have no money, so.
Yeah, I said like after I do the guarding thing.
Oh, okay.
They said they're gonna give me a gun and I'm gonna do city guard jobs.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I'm one of the main proprietors of Tombstone. We don't pay our guards. You're allowed to stay because you guard, essentially.
So no whorehouse.
Oh, there's a whorehouse.
Yeah, but I want to get paid.
Then go and get a job. But like go and be a carpenter or go and work the fields. Do something like that.
Ooh,
Sanford
fields in the
is,
middle of
like,
winter. Okay,
rubbing his head.
fair enough. I'll figure something out with the job, but I'll at least repay your kindness with the city guard thing first.
She nods.
Do you have a clinic in this town?
She says, "We sure do."
Because I have medical training, so.
Yeah. Well, Doc Stevens can certainly do with some help. He's just 2 doors down.
Yeah. Probably better than me handing a rifle in this state.
Yeah. Is there a blacksmith?
She ladles you out some stew and passes it to you and says, "Ah, yeah, I see what you mean." Blacksmith said, "Yeah, we got a gunsmith. We got a blacksmith too."
I don't know much about gunsmithing, but I know some basic blacksmithing, so maybe I could help out there.
That'd be very nice. She just looks towards Sam, going like, "It's pretty obvious what this guy's gonna do, you know." Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
So how long was Dennis out? How long has it been?
about 2-3 weeks since you've seen
Fair
him.
enough.
That was a long adventure separated.
How do you survive in that cold wasteland, man?
Lots of running. I think there was some rabbits involved.
Huh?
Other than that, I hid in the snow, I guess. It all blends together a little bit after a while.
Mhm.
How long were we out for? I mean, did they just find us, or have we been here for a minute?
You guys have been here for about a week now.
Hmm. How did the job go? Because I would have been basically out of it for most of it.
Yeah.
Most of
Oh,
it.
I mean, imagine you did, as messed up as you were in the head, more than usual. You probably still would remember the dragon, I assume.
No, because I was shot and I was unconscious.
Oh, right, you were.
I'd been shot in the head at the top of a cliff, and all I would probably remember is falling.
I mean, I think at some point Sangren would have, explained to him
Yeah.
that we were that dragon.
And you
There's
probably
nothing.
shouldn't talk about a job in front of them. That's also pretty obvious because they think we were guards on the train.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I was just, well, I mean, that's.
All right. Sangren's gonna kind of step up and say, and thank them, and it's like, all right, well, I guess we can get back to work. I imagine there's not going to be much of a way back to, civilization for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Sangren kind of is going to get up. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to go see what I can help with, I guess. and kind of gets up and starts heading out. Is probably a little wobbly.
Okay. Okay.
He's
So,
probably getting a little stir crazy. He needs to,
so
do
you're
something.
just gonna walk outside. Okay, it's pretty cold when you get out there, but you were given like a jacket that you could just sling over your shoulders, and people do give you a wide berth. You have been
Is it like
approached
3
once.
jackets put together?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, you've been approached by. I mean, for all you know, that there was a stable hand who was like a big guy back in the day, and it's a really old, smelly jacket. But it's got its fur lining, so it keeps you warm. And that's the main thing. But walking around, you do actually get a sense that a few of the gunfighters have approached you in the past and said, "Hey, what can you do?" And to which you probably said, give me an axe or something, and I'll
Basically, yeah.
So-
It's like, he's
so-
like, I'm not great with the guns, but
yeah,
I can
they give you
fight with
wary
just about anything
respect.
else.
They give you a wary respect. Like they don't try and get in your face or try and do anything. They just nod to you as you're walking around. Like they know you're getting your strength back. You still look very, very pale, and like you're not at death's door, but you don't look well. So there are a few ladies walking to and from the whorehouse. From what you can see, the only women in Tombstone are there. They're either working in there or they're married. Those are the two things. It's not a very progressive place, is Tombstone. You're basically surviving on what you have, and there are a few women in the gunfighters, but not. There's like out of the 15, there's like one, maybe two that you've seen who aren't either a whore or married, unfortunately.
Or both.
Or both, yeah. As the case may be. But yeah, so they give you an appraising look. You are quite muscular, and you've lost the over henchness. You're now just this massive toned dude, basically. Because vampire metabolism is very, very quick, and your bodies change extremely quickly when you're not getting a constant dose of blood. So, what are you looking to do in the town? The wind's picking up. It's really, really cold.
I imagine that there's, we've been here a week or so, so while I probably haven't been out much, there's probably been, like, talk about how they've got to, like, handle supplies or whatever they're doing to help make food. So he'd probably, like, offer to help out with, like, like moving stuff or any, like, scouting parties. Just, he's not worried about Dennis anymore. He needs to start doing something or he's gonna, go stir crazy.
Okay. So once you head outside, there are scouting parties heading out. If you want to go and volunteer to go along with them, you can do. Are you trying to get any sort of information or anything like that, or are you just going to just make sure that you're making yourself useful?
Yeah, I mean, I figure we're aware that we're not getting back to town until the winter's over, right?
Yeah,
It's just not really an option here.
The passes are pretty much closed at this point. The train isn't moving anytime soon. You can only imagine that during the winter, the only way to get rid of corpses is to throw them in the sea and weight it down, of course. So this is why wars between Duskfall and the Dominion tend to stick to the spring and summer and fall, because in the winter they're trying to get rid of their dead. The dead start piling up, and you could easily have an epidemic of the returned on your hands, which nobody wants. So there are no trains going to the death mounds at this stage in the wastes. So for all you know, you're completely cut off, and if you've asked before, you would get that response: is that it's completely cut off. Like, we're on our own until the spring, essentially.
Yeah. So he doesn't really, there's not much information to gather until, comes spring. So he's mostly just trying to work his way to have some, I guess, maybe some, the extra, just backing in case something goes wrong. People are, get used to him or are comfortable with him.
Yeah, okay. So, if you're heading out to scout, They're generally you just follow the trail of the rivers, so the frozen rivers up and down, and sometimes you try and or you do break through the ice to get to some water to bring fresh water back. Because rivers in this part of the world are quite rare, and that's why Tombstone has sprung up here, because it's on several small river inlets. So the information that you get when you're out there, are you going to try and speak to anybody, or are you just literally going along and making a comment here and there?
I'm more like listening and and just trying to get a feel for people who aren't just the people who are immediately taking care of us.
Mhm.
And kind of just see where we stand, and and maybe I'll ask like, if there's other more like other groups out here, because we didn't really get much of a rundown of Dennis. I imagine we've talked about bandits, but try to get a feel for how bad the situation is.
So, if you're riding next to one of the, they're giving you your own horse, which is nice. It's a big bay horse, so rather large compared to their normal courses. And you're riding along, and if you mention that to one of them, they will give you an answer if you wanted to speak to them. Are you trying to do that? Is that what we're going with?
Yeah, I'd be like, I know we haven't been here too long. I've heard that there are other bandits or other groups out there. How bad is the situation realistically?
He just says, "You mean the gatekeepers?" And he like spits on the floor. He says, "Yeah, they're a pestilence out here, but somehow they just keep getting new weapons, new pieces of armor, and good horses, and food, supplies, everything. They're out there, and they should be starving, and they're not." And he just shrugs and says, "We know that they plan to hit the train where we found you guys, so they hit you on the way through. So I have no idea. Like, we just can't seem to fight them off." And he just shrugs and says, "We even had our own opiates growing out here, We were so close to making something not legal, of course, but something that we could sell. The land here is absolutely perfect for growing that stuff, those poppies. It's perfect. And we could literally be sitting on a gold mine. But we can't seem to make a go of it because of these people." And he just shrugs and says, "Listen, I don't know what kind of official backing they got or who is funding them, but it's not good. They're going to start raiding Glavia soon, and when that happens, war's going to come here. And when that happens, Tombstone will be the front line. You guys had better stick around until spring and get yourselves out of here as far as I'm concerned."
Well, come spring, hopefully we can get some more official, get a, if the situation's as bad as you say, as I'll see what we can do when we get back about trying to get you guys some sort of support.
He nods and says, "Yeah, I don't know who you guys are, but surviving a crash like that, you are some lucky son. Well, you're one lucky son of a gun. Let me tell you. Nobody walks away from shit like that." He just shakes his head and goes, "And your friend there? Like, he had a bullet in the brain. We had to remove it. Like, he should be dead."
I am under no illusions about how, lucky we are to have survived that. That I honestly didn't think we would.
He nods and says, "There's nothing about that night. There was this weird, strange storm. It was just purple lightning, came overhead when when whatever hit you left. I think it was a dragon looking at the marks, but the bandits were there too. And I don't know what the hell that was, but things are getting weirder around here. And if my wife and kids were not here, if they could travel, I would be out of here in a second." He extends his hand and says, "Oh, Loxley, by the way."
Fangern, and I'll shake it.
And he says, listen, a big fella like you, you could handle a few ruffians. If you want to stay in a room, I have a room in my house. If you want to get away from Mark Baker's, you can stay in there. As long as you watch the house for me. You know?
I appreciate that. I may take you up on that.
He just nods. And you guys can lapse into just small talk if you want, or you can ask him some questions.
Yeah, I think it's more small talk after that point, and just him, kind of Thanger will ask a couple of questions about how, to spot things that'll help him survive out here should something happen again and they have to wander.
Yeah.
Or if he were to get separated.
So he points out the fact that they've got certain areas out in the waste where they can go if things are getting hot. So there are certain little points that they can escape to. Aside from that, like he says, yeah, he points out a few ginseng and other herbs that are growing naturally, normally anyway. He says they're really hard to find in the winter, but come spring, if you need something, you get some jarrow root and ginseng, and you can make yourself a health poultice of some sort. So he's pointing those things out, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, you just pointing those things out to make sure that you know what you need.
Cool.
So back in town, what are you guys doing? So what are Filberto and Dennis up to? You're in the same room. You've seen Sangern just waltz off.
I guess I would go to the doctor's to probably get my wound checked and maybe offer to work. Yeah, I'd go see if I can get some work. Cause maybe also go out and check some of the rifles of some of the scouts before they leave. I would have enough gunsmithing experience to recognize, a shoddy weapon or something like that.
Okay.
So I could just inspect them and stuff.
Okay. All right. So when you actually go in there, you actually see that that there is somebody, that there is a woman there with her legs open, and she is getting seen to by the doctor. Not in that way, but she is getting examined essentially. And he says he picks up the 2 pills, like a box of pills, and says, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, and don't come to me next time you pick up one of these depraved diseases. And then she just stands up and just pulls the skirts up and says,
"Can I judge that's Can I judge what the illness is?"
It's probably chlamydia or something like that.
Fair enough. Oh, it's just legs down. I thought it was like legs. Oh, I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
STD. Oh,
Yeah. So
does she look like one of the local ladies of the
yes,
night?
she does. Yes.
Okay.
So she winks at you as she passes by, and then goes through the door. Chicks here must dig scars or something. So the doctor is blonde. He looks like he's in his mid-50s. Slick back hair, wearing a shirt and lapels and trousers. The trousers don't seem to quite fit him all the way down to his feet. So his ankles are a bit exposed with his shoes, with his socks, and he's wiping himself down and getting some soap and scrubbing his hands. And he says, "Can I help you?" As he starts rinsing his hands.
Well, Doc, you might want to take a look at this wound. You wanted me to come over?
He says, "Well, I did dress it. Let's see." He walks over and gives you a once over and goes, "Yes, I'll wash it and change the bandages. Sit down."
All right.
So he works on you as you're doing it. It stings, but he's using iodine as well, which is really stinging.
Yeah. I gotta say, you've done one hell of a job, Doc. That does look pretty nasty. I would know because I've seen it. Looked in a mirror.
He nods and says, there's something about this doctor. He's not giving you the heebie-jeebies or anything, but he does seem to almost fear you. He's definitely got something about him. He doesn't, He says, "Yes, well," and he's looking at the wound and he's just shaking his head, and then he keeps disinfecting it and making sure that it's not gonna get any worse. But he just says, "Yeah." He sits down. You can tell something's eating him. Something's getting there.
I'm just gonna ask, what's up, Doc? This What's going on?
There's no easy way for me to tell you this, boy, but you have half a brain.
Tell me something I didn't know.
No, I mean, you literally have half. You shouldn't be alive right now.
Interesting.
He just rocks back and says, I've seen many things in my time as a medical practitioner, especially since I've moved to the Driftwood after my more extravagant experiments didn't go so well in Felharrow, to say the least. But I've never seen anything like this. Also, watch this. And he gets out his stethoscope and he says, if you don't mind, he puts the things in your ears and he presses it to your chest and he says,
yeah.
What can you hear?
I guess, would there be nothing?
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Oh. Oh God. Interesting.
So he just says he puts his hands on the rail of the it's not really a bed, it's like a you lying back on it. He says I don't know what's going on, but I suggest you take your health very seriously from now on. Have you noticed anything strange about how you've been feeling and how you've been?
Not so much, just an insane amount of pain. Whatever. You may think I have only half a brain, but I still bloody well feel it. I still feel that bullet.
He nods and says, well, I got out as much of it as I could. Some fragments are still left in there. Frankly, I was sure that you would just meet on the table when they brought you in. But no, here you are. Here's another interesting thing. And he gets out a mirror.
Yeah.
And he says, breathe on this.
Okay, I breathe on it.
Yeah, nothing happens. There's no fogging of the...
Do I see warmth?
No.
I breathe to my hand instead.
No, there's no warmth there. Nothing comes out.
Is a sound made as I try to breathe out?
Sort of like a croaking sound. Yeah.
Interesting.
He says, have you been eating well and...
I mean, no more than... I've been eating pretty well. Well, besides, I guess, who knows, being severely maimed in a train crash,
Right. He says, well, I advise you to drink lots of fluids. And I will be honest, this is beyond my medical know-how. And I do not know of any doctors who would have a sentiment where they could do any better with their prognosis. I do not know what has happened to you, son. I suggest you take it easy.
Yeah, yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, maybe a Valentian researcher might know, but unfortunately there aren't any out here in this desolate wasteland.
He nods and says, now, is there anything else I can do for you?
I want to ask, you didn't happen to... So, since Sangan would have mentioned a dragon, or mentioned to me about the dragon, you haven't happened to see any large flying beasts? We happened to see one on the train in.
He says,
back before the accident.
There was an attack out near the train, I believe. We see them from time to time, but generally they're very live and let live creatures. Unless you provoke them, they have no interest in harming you. I do not know why one took such an interest in your shipment, however.
Yeah. Was there anyone else from the crash site? Did you manage to fetch anyone from the crash site besides us?
He sadly shakes his head and says, "No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir."
Fair enough. There was valuable documents on that train. Is it in any way intact or completely destroyed?
As far as we know, everything was destroyed. We took some money from the train and some food, supplies, things like that. But that's it.
God. There were good men on that train.
I'm sorry.
Travesty. I knew many of their families.
He nods.
Travesty.
Good men that you spent a fair bit of time shooting at.
Oh, sorry, I'm just seeing on the chat. Yeah. So I was curious, Doc. Have you got any? You look like you still might need a bit of assistance. I did have some medical training back in Valentia.
He nods and
It's
says,
a
if
little
you
rusty.
are looking for lighter work, then I can certainly provide you with some.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, you got to do more than just treating whores for the clap, eh?
He nods and says, well, we all have to pull our weight.
Literally.
The townspeople don't charge me rent.
No, I understand. Yeah, sure. What do you need?
He says, well, these utensils could need cleaning, and some alchemical ingredients I could use. Do you have any experience with that?
Yeah.
He says, well, I need this, and this mixed up. If you could start doing that, I have another patient coming in for an amputation in around an hour.
Cool. So you need that alchemical. You need the suturing salve. Gotcha.
Please. And he goes away and starts preparing himself. So, we'll leave you alone there. So, Dennis, you just seen Filberto stagger off into the snow and then go to another a house a few doors down. So, what are you doing, Dennis? Are you just chilling out, eating, or?
I mean, while I eat, I would probably ask the people there. So, any idea who was the one chasing me? They did not seem to have good intentions. After your guard arrived and saved me, I don't really know why I was being chased.
So Mark Baker sits back in the rocking chair that Filberto vacated. You can only assume that he basically just took her chair when he came into the house. I was like, oh yeah, this is mine now. Okay. So he just says, she just says, well, I believe it was the gatekeepers. And she sits back and says, you can see she lights a cigarette. It's in one of those long holders, and she just starts toking on it. Yes, I believe they are people of ill repute, shall we say. And they normally look for Dominion shipments out here in the wastes. And unfortunately, I believe you stumbled across, well, you were the target of one of their more brazen acts of larceny. And she's rocking back and forth. Says, I'm very sorry.
Certainly was brazen. Do you know where their base of operations is?
Yes, I have no idea, my friend. I assume the boys would like to know that, or whether they would go and try and wipe them out for good. But I'm afraid we have no idea at the moment.
Fair enough. Has anyone tried infiltrating them? That's at least the first thing my red coat brain thinks of.
She shrugs and says, in all honesty, I don't really know if we've ever had an opportunity to infiltrate them. They just strike and then they leave.
Well, the ones that were all were killed while I was attacked, all their corpses, their clothes, and their weapons were left behind. It would be a very good opportunity to take those things and use this maybe as an opportunity to infiltrate them. I mean, they're probably still laying around there.
She nods and says, "There's something I'll bring up with the boys."
Fair enough. When they are sent out, I'd like to go with them. If you can imagine, I'm pretty pissed at the people who got me killed twice nearly.
She nods and says, well, if it's revenge you're looking for, I assume protecting the town would put you in their crosshairs if you wish to do that.
Will do. For now, I think I'll go to the blacksmith, and if there's an attack, I'm gonna help out.
She nods and sits back and lets you go. As you leave, you notice the scouting party returning with Sangun, and he jumps off his horse and sidles down and starts patting down his horse. Do you guys want to have a talk, or you all good? Do you want to pass on some information, or?
Yeah, I'd probably just kind of after nod to Dennis as I'm kind of like putting stuff away and just uh, and then after I've finished putting the horse away and such, kind of just come up to him and
Mhm.
kind of give him a rundown of what I've learned so far.
Yeah, I'd say Sangren that I heard already that I also heard the whole story, and I would tell him to maybe talk to the people who brought me in because it would be a good idea to go back to the place where I was attacked and pick up all the weapons and supplies and clothes of the people who did attack me before they revive. So it's probably pretty urgent.
That's actually a pretty good point. And I'll nod and then kind of go intimate whether that's to some of the other scouts and see if they want to try to get a run at that before
Mhm.
it gets too late.
Okay. You cut out a little bit there. Let's say that again.
I'd probably go and nod to him and kind of head off to the scouts and
Mhm.
kind of see what they think if we can make a run at that before it's too
Run at
late
what?
at getting the supplies
Okay.
and such off of the corpses that Dennis
Right. Okay. So a few of the guys volunteered. Like, yeah, we'll take you out if you want to go. You mean the ones we just killed earlier to get your friend back?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can head
I
out.
mean, a few more rifles probably wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, we can head out.
I'd probably bring something bladed and heavy in case I have to hack apart a zombie.
Mhm. Okay. So, are you going with him, Dennis, or are you staying here?
Uh, I'd go to the blacksmith because just picking up the equipment doesn't seem like something that I'd be needed for.
Mhm.
So I just go actually try to get a job at the blacksmith's place.
Okay. So, hmm. Okay. Okay. So, you head in, and there is a blacksmithing team rather than a single person, and they're all there just, they seem to be fixing guns rather than normal weapons. These are things that have been malfunctioning, or they're things that have been found out in the wastes that are just brought back, and then they are, obviously rejuvenated to the point where they work properly. So, what are you going to do in there? What are you looking to do? One of them does look up and sees you, and he's like got a handlebar moustache, and he like wipes it down and says, "What can I do for you?"
Do you maybe need another worker?
I'll never turn down workers. Can't pay you though. But if you want to earn your keep, it's the way to do it.
What way? Because the guard, because I already learned that the guard doesn't pay either, so getting a bit low on options lately.
Well, if you look around this town, do you think anyone here has money to take on fully paid labourers? We all pull our weight. That's what we do. Now, either pick up a hammer, and I'll show you how to fix this hunting rifle, or you can, well, I guess leave. I don't know. Do what you want to do.
I'll get to work.
He throws you the hunting rifle and starts showing you how to oil it properly. And let's break it down. I'm going to give you, if you want to work, are you actually trying to get better at this, or are you just doing it to make sure that, you guys aren't kicked out of town for being loafers?
Like, if Dennis is working on it, he's doing it properly. Because, like, I do have some skills in one in blacksmithing, so that's something, I guess.
Give yourself a 2 in blacksmithing if you're using it to do gun weaponry.
Extra, okay, extra 2 or 2 like static.
Extra 2 whenever you're doing guns.
Okay, so +2 like
Whenever you're
smithing
gunsmithing.
for guns.
Okay. So, Sangun, you are riding out into the wastes, and
Nothing bad ever happens in the wastes.
Yeah, and it's still pretty cold. And you do come across the guys that were killed earlier on, who were chasing Dennis. The scouts lead you there. They're very happy, and Loxley's there with you. And he says, only 6 of them. Shame. He says, well, here's a sack. He throws it to you and says, you get what you need, we'll cover you.
Yeah. Probably potentially as I'm going through these things, I would probably, just for safety's sake, hack off heads, because I mean that would be something people would do, right?
Yeah.
With dead people. Yeah.
I mean,
Probably hack.
the problem with the return is that they don't just reanimate, they
Assemble.
Yeah, they reassemble.
Yeah, but it'd at least slow them down.
It would slow them down, yeah.
Yeah, that, so I would definitely hack off a couple of heads, maybe a limb here or there.
Cool.
Just so that as I'm just like as I'm going up to a body, just hack off the head, with like one big swing, and then loot, and then move on to the next one. Yeah, just give us time to get out if we need it.
So, okay. So as you move, I'll give you your equipment in a minute, but as you move from body to body, you are hearing like strange moaning noises, not the good kind, on the wind. And you can see the
Like
horses
from
getting
these guys, or
no, in the wind, like from elsewhere. And the horse is getting a little bit spooked, and Loxley himself is looking around to the other scouts, and he's like, steady on, just do this and get home, alright?
which direction is it coming from?
You can't really tell. You do get 2 hunting rifles. Okay, one of them is badly damaged. Okay. You get 2 volcanic pistols. And this is very strange, because these are of Blackcoat make. These volcanic pistols are generally only given to Blackcoats, or people who work with them. And you do get bits of scraps and pieces of armor. If you took them to the blacksmith, he could probably like lay it on one of your pieces of armor for you. But yeah, for now.
All right. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not gonna try to get too crazy into this, just because they've already been here a minute, and I'm hearing something I don't like. So, yeah,
So,
I think
you've been chopping
head
off
back
the
towards-
heads. As you turn around you can hear almost like a bowl. The noise a bowl makes when it like drops to the floor. Like a sound, like really low down. And when you turn to it, is one of the heads that you cut off is sort of rolling from side to side, and sort of inching its way closer to the body that you cut it off.
I think that's our cue to go, and I will I kind of just like nod to them. All right, time to go. And probably as I'm going past that, boot that head off into in a way direction.
Yeah. Okay. So you boot the head and it's gone. It goes flying.
Yeah, and then just get on the horse and leave.
All right. So you guys are on the horses. And you do that, out of the mists burst around. You can't count them. There must be at least 30. Some of them are naked. Some of them have armor falling off. Some of them are almost fully clothed and newly dead. Looks like. But these things are racing towards you. What would you like to do? They look like they're gonna be. The first wave will be on you. The first couple will be on you before you can turn your horses to get out. So what would you like to do?
I mean, are the pistols in good condition?
Yeah, they're loaded. Yeah, they're ready to go.
Yeah, I would probably. I mean, I've got. I mean, what kind of big bladed weapon to end up with? Is it just like a wood cutting axe, or
it's just a very, very large lumberjack axe, essentially.
I mean,
it's
I
enough
could
to
probably.
hammer people down if you need to.
Yeah, I think I might probably try to take a swing or two at the nearest two as we're turning around.
Okay.
You
So
said that, yeah, there was like two that were gonna get to us first. Yeah.
yeah, that would be yeah. Roll an attack. You can go for it. They're not doing initiative. They're just throwing themselves at you.
Hold on. I'm gonna add all them bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
6 plus 2. Do I get the giant for my attack if I'm with the strength-based weapon?
Yeah.
I
Why
don't
not?
remember if
Why not?
All right. So that's comes out to be 10d6. Yeah.
Yes. So you just go. You don't need a good roll to do this. You're just hammering this axe into these things and keeping them away from your horse, basically, so it doesn't spook it or you don't get dragged off. One or two of the scouts are hammered from their saddles. So they're just taken completely by surprise, and you can hear their screams as they are beaten and bitten to death, essentially. And everyone else is turning and riding. You can choose to turn and ride back now if you want.
Yeah, I mean, there's no saving them.
Okay, so you're just going to turn and ride off. So you guys hammer it back to town, and Loxy says to you, okay, this isn't good.
Does this kind of thing happen?
He says, yeah, it does. Out here, some corpses get loose from the train, things like that. You don't come across it in those numbers though. We need to get back as quickly as possible.
I think, yeah, Sangren's not riding. He's just going to kind of nod and probably, speed up the horse a little.
Mm-hmm. So, back in town, nighttime is on the way. You guys are winding down. What would you like to do? So who's doing what in the town? So we've got Filberto and Dennis. Filberto, you've just aided in the amputation of a limb.
Man.
Unfortunately, the young man died of blood loss, unfortunately.
Ah.
And so he's there, and you're just chilling out, doing your own thing. I mean death's no biggie for you. You're just like, oh well,
Yeah.
The doctor is a bit taken aback, by your, I'd say, or are you trying to act devastated, or are you just like?
I'm just gonna act like I'm just not phased.
Okay.
You just accept that it's part and parcel of the
Part
job.
and parcel, yeah.
Just act like I'm medically trained, not totally a torturer.
Yeah.
And I guess just shoot the shit, just accept.
Okay.
Try to work out why he died.
All right, Dennis, what are you up to?
I would like if the work hours, like the normal work hours, are coming to an end. I would ask if I can stay behind and like use scrap metal to forge some stuff for myself, like grappling hooks and a sword, maybe.
Sure. Yeah, you can do that. That's fine.
Probably focus on that and then just go to sleep and rest for some day.
Cool. All right. So, Filberto. The doctor comes over to you and says, "Would you mind cleaning my utensils whilst I see to this young man?"
All right. What's the scoop on this one?
Well, he's dead.
Oh, on the current one that's dead. Oh, I thought there was another one.
No, I'm closing up for the day. I'm gonna go get a stiff drink.
You probably need it.
So he just starts cleaning up.
Fair enough.
And you're in the sink, I guess,
Yeah.
washing the utensils. So after a few minutes, you can, from the other room, because you are in another room in the sink, you can hear the doctor scream and what sounds like an almighty scuffle happening in your other room.
I'm gonna run back into the other room.
You see the expired young man trying to strangle the life out of the doctor.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look like he's all there. And he was dead. There's no way to bring people back in this setting, right? You know he was dead.
Yeah.
But he is strangling the ever-living life out of this doctor, who is trying to pull away. But as he's pulled away, like the man is biting down on one of his fingers, trying to bite it off.
Yeah. But then what was amputated?
One of his legs.
Oh, I see. It's one of his legs. would reasonably punching a zombie in the face do anything?
You can only assume that it would at least let him notice you.
Yeah, I guess I would. I guess I go I'd punch him in the face and go, "Come on, pick on someone your own damn size."
Okay. So, as you...
Aren't
Oh,
you
I would
smaller
stab
than
him.
most people?
Yeah, I would stab. Yeah, I'll pick up a scalpel and stab him.
Oh, actually, you're punching him, stabbing him in the forehead.
Yeah.
So, nothing happens, but at your touch, the man releases the doctor and turns back and turns to look at you. And he looks like to be in some sort of a trance. Looks like his mouth just hanging open agape. And he's just looking at you.
I'm just gonna stand there and stare at him as well, and I'm gonna gesture to the doctor. You know, let's pin him down. Let's restrain this son of a bitch.
He's like holding his throat, going, "Indeed, indeed. Thank you for calming him."
Yeah.
Is he alive?
Don't know yet. This isn't life. This is some reanimated state.
Hmm.
We need to restrain this one for your safety and for our safety, shall we say?
Okay.
I assume you might have a restraining table.
He does, yeah. So rather than doing anything else, he says, I'm ahead of you there, and he straps down his arms and his leg essentially, so he can't really move and do anything. But as soon as the doctor starts touching, he starts thrashing. So you're gonna need to do a strength roll to keep him from bursting loose and going for the doctor again.
I'm gonna hold him. Does that do anything?
Yes, very clever. So yes, he goes completely limp and allows his limbs to be chained to the table.
Fair enough.
The operating table.
Interesting. I seem to have an effect on this patient.
So Dennis, as you were walking past the doctor's office to head to get a drink or just to chill out after a good day, you hear a large commotion from inside, and you can see through the window that Dennis appears to be wrestling with a man on a chair, or a man on an operating table, and then the man on the operating table goes limp. What would you like to do?
I mean, I do imagine that this is not so much of a rare sight, because anesthesia is probably rather rare in a town like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't, unless they call out for help, I do think I would just assume that this is a patient being operated on without anesthesia and not having a fun time.
Yep. So you just wander off, I'm guessing.
Yeah, like if they call out, because I guess they would notice me from the inside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if Filberto wants to call me, I'd come and help.
Yeah, I think we've got this under control, to be honest.
Okay.
So I am probably gonna just try to check the pulse. You know, do the obvious medical check.
This person is dead. There's no pulse, there's no breath, there's no anything.
Interesting.
Yeah. Funnily enough, he wasn't trying to consume anything. It's not that kind of a thing. He wasn't trying to, eat anybody. He just went extremely violent.
Interesting.
And then not, obviously.
Interesting. Maybe we should take a blood sample. If you've got...
The doctor brings out a primitive-looking syringe, metal syringe.
That'll do just the trick.
So you pull some
stab
blood
him
out.
in the neck. I'll stab him in the neck.
Yep. You start pulling some blood out. It looks black. It shouldn't look this black this quickly. But it looks like it's been in there for a long time. It looks very, very black.
Gotcha. Now, how long is this? So this one died just recently. Interesting.
He said, yeah, but I mean, he died on the operating table whilst you were operating.
Interesting. The degradation on this is a lot faster than it should be.
The doctor
Fist.
nods and says, "This looks like it comes from a corpse that's at least 6 weeks old."
Yeah, and yet he just died. Just 2 hours ago. Interesting.
He nods.
I'm gonna hold it up to the like a light source or something. See if I can see anything. Just
It just looks
eye it up.
really dark. I mean, the
Yeah.
edges of liquid are more ready, obviously, because, you know. But
Yeah.
like, the actual liquid itself is just nearly black, nearly pitch black.
Fair enough. I'm gonna take it out the I'm gonna decant it into like a bottle or something,
Okay.
and before I close it, I'm going to sniff the bottle.
It does smell of rotten meat, and it smells like bad blood. Essentially, it's a disgusting smell. Yeah, it doesn't smell good at all.
Fair enough. I'm gonna. You might want to. Yeah, it seems to be decayed far more than it should have been, and a lot. Yeah, this smells several weeks. Blood would be several weeks or months old, not several hours.
Okay.
We'd expect it still to be largely red and oxygenated at this point.
We got
a lab.
Let's call back to. I'll come back to it in a minute. Let's call back to Dennis, who's on his way to the saloon or wherever Dennis is heading. Where are you heading, Dennis? Whereabouts are you going?
Probably head to sleep because he has worked the whole day in the smithy,
Mhm.
and then probably another few hours just on his own stuff.
Mhm.
So he's probably as tired as he can be. So,
Yep.
and he doesn't have money, so he can't go to the bar. He's
That's
just
true.
confused what he's supposed to do. He's gonna go to sleep probably.
Okay. So as you're heading that way, you can hear a gunshot go off inside of the saloon. There's a flash in the street, and a gunshot goes off, and you can hear a very large commotion as somebody hurls out of the window, the ground floor window, in a shower of glass and wood onto the floor, and seems to be wrestling with somebody, and he's saying, "For fuck's sake, Ike, it's me!" And he's Ike, I don't want to do this, and he ends up just like blowing loads of shots into his torso that don't do anything. They're just not doing anything. Like this guy just keeps coming. And there's a crowd outside now, and they're watching. They're just like horrified, essentially.
I can use my new fancy sword to try to lop off Ike's head, I guess.
Yeah, he's gonna go humph, and just take it off. Okay.
Yeah.
Roll a full attack like you were in combat.
So that would be strength and swordsman, right?
Yep. Sweet.
And I succeed on force, so one more success.
You lop off this guy's head pretty quickly, and it goes tumbling onto the floor, and the body goes limp, and the guy like pushes him off and says, "What the hell? What the hell did you do?"
You shot 5 bullets into him or more, and he wasn't dying. I'm sorry, but that was an undead.
He just like looks pretty perplexed as another corpse staggers in and hurls itself towards you, Dennis, from what looks like the darkness between two buildings. It just emerged and it runs towards you. No weapons or anything, just tries its claw for you. I'm going to give you a full attack, though. You can have a full attack.
Does it? Am I sure that it's an undead?
Oh yeah, like it looks like it's coming straight for you. Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay,
look like
then I'll attempt to strike the neck again.
Mhm. All right.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 successes.
Yep. So very Michonne Walking Dead. You know, you stand to the side and it's like thunk, and just whip off its head, and it falls to the ground. And everyone now is running for either their homes or their guns, essentially.
I'm gonna be considered the bad guy here, aren't I?
No, they seem to be rallying around you. If anything, like they're defending the square. So a lot of the boys are like they've got their rifles out and they've kicked over some boxes and that they're using them as cover, things like that. You can hear a wail coming from around you as more and more corpses are pouring into the town, and there's gunfire.
Okay, I would at this point, because people ran out into the goddamn square, I would scream to them, "You idiots, hide in the damn buildings, not in the middle. Get a defensible position, get on a roof, something like that. Don't fucking run into the square." And I would
Okay.
myself try to get into the bar and get onto the roof of the bar, or possibly just into the bar.
Okay, so you're just kicking open the saloon door. A few
Yeah.
of them do follow you, but you can actually see outside that a lot of these guys are standing outside of their houses. So they're in the square, but they're trying to protect, you know what I mean, like the things from getting in the front doors of their own homes, essentially. So those guys don't move, simply because, you know, I'm not going to hold. Yeah, they're thinking I'm not going to hold up in another building if I wanted to, you know, if I want to protect my family. So, but a lot of the younger guys who obviously don't have families, they're with you, and they're inside of the saloon, and the saloon keeper's like, "So what the bloody hell's going on out there? What are you guys doing?"
Zombies, prepare Molotovs.
What?
Okay, take a rag, stuff it into alcohol bottles, and get something to light them, because this is gonna be a long night.
He just nods and says, "All right." So he kneels down and gets out some, like, really, he goes, Jeffrey Stein, 1862. No, that's the good stuff. Vodka, 1812. Yes, and he just pulls the stopper out and, like, he starts decanting it into bottles, and then, you know, he does quite an admirable job, really. So you're now thinking that he probably knows how to make one of these. He's just like, you know, he's confused at why he needed to make one, but fuck it. You know, he's got like 8 or 9 there for you. He goes, "Throw when ready. Just get to the doorway and do it. Don't burn down my fucking saloon, all right?"
Don't want to get burned to death either. Don't need to tell me that much.
He
So-
just nods.
Yeah, so like then comes the fun part of like trying to barricade the windows and doors and stuff.
All right. At this point, they're pretty much on you, like, trying to get in. The guys outside are holding, but a few are getting through. And eventually, you can see the guys outside are starting to break as your guys are firing from windows and putting tables up against windows and against doors and things. So, a few of the houses have been broken into by the corpses and are being ransacked, obviously. Filberto, what are you doing at this moment in time?
I'm still going to be in the doctor's surgery with the doctor.
So there's like running tests as it all is going on.
Yeah, it's because I want to take a look. I'm going to ask the doctor to. Did he keep the leg?
Yeah, still there.
Because I want to inspect the leg.
Mhm.
See what's happened to it, because maybe the injury that required the amputation could explain what this guy is infected with. I'm gonna keep. Yeah, I'm just gonna say we should lock the doors, like brace, put like a cupboard or something in front of the door.
Okay, yeah. So he locks it and then like throws like a chest of drawers in front of it. And so the leg looks like it's actually moving and pulsing and trying to, you know, come back to the body of the guy. You notice that when you see where the leg is now, it's not where it was. It's actually, you know, moved a little way towards the body. Almost like it's being dragged on string towards the body.
Does it look atrophied?
No, it looks pretty new. The thing is that inside you're getting a stench of rotting from this guy, but it seems to be from inside, not outside.
Interesting. Interesting indeed. This is very abnormal. I'm going to try to recall some of my vigilant training and see if there's anything that I might.
General undead, like the returned, don't rot really.
Yeah.
They're more. How do I put it? Like the returned are more vicious. They're just people who have come back from the dead, but they're not rotting. They will eventually, but they're not rotting at that time.
Yeah.
Whereas these seem to be actually rotting.
Yeah.
They act very similarly, yes, but they seem to be actually rotting.
Yeah, and they also seem to be wanting to reattach.
Yes.
which I guess is an interesting.
Yeah, the return do that as well.
Okay.
Which is why we don't just chop them up, which is why we have to get rid of them. But yes, that is essentially what you're looking at now.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm gonna do a blood. I'm gonna try to do some blood tests.
Okay, cool. You can hear all this going on outside. Are you interfering in that at all, or are you just letting it?
I'm gonna say we might want to work out how to defeat these bastards.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they're obviously causing havoc in town, so we might as well
Okay.
work out what the hell we're dealing with.
Okay. Alrighty.
I'm going to grab the leg and see what happens.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab the leg and put it in a jar.
Okay. And it immediately stops moving when you grab it. It just stops. Like, it doesn't do anything.
Interesting. Yeah, it'd be a large jar or a box even. Something to restrain it.
Okay. So, let's go outside. So, Sangun, you're on your way back to town.
Yep.
Let's roll to see how quick you are in getting back to town.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna need some swiftness rolls from you, please. And I'll do the guys who were. Oh, that's good.
626.
So there's 6 with you, so it's 12d6. That's not for one guy, by the way. That's for multiple guys.
I was gonna say they're real fast.
Yeah, see, you guys are making good time. So you realize when you're heading back towards Tombstone that this place is kind of on fire, and there are lots of what you were just fighting already there.
The opposite of what I want in a town that I'm staying in.
So what are your plans? You can definitely charge straight into the back of this. Well, from what you can see, there's about maybe 20-25 in the town square at the moment of these creatures, and that they're being held off just by the local boys.
I think I mean the rifles and the pistols I had were loaded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hand them off to the guys that we're riding with, so they have, because guns aren't really Zangurn's most effective weapon. And I think it's time for some ride by attacking to try to thin this herd without jumping into the middle of it immediately.
Okay, that's cool. So they're gonna fan out, and they immediately start these are their homes essentially, and you're not in command technically. So they are essentially just charging forward to kick the shit out of these things.
I mean, I would try to be pretty use my very authoritative, military voice to try to get them to listen as best I can.
One or two of them do. Well, Loxley's one of them. He realizes. So I'd say 3 of them, are with you, and the other 4 go barreling into the zombies and start cutting them down in front of you. And what are you looking to do?
I want to take apart a few of them so that everyone has a better chance to surround them and finish them off.
So
that we can
you're
prepare
using
for other herd.
your ranged weapons to.
Oh no, I'm doing a ride by swing of the axe.
Okay.
And having them be a little further out so that they can do pot shots and try to take these down from a distance.
So
and
with
maybe draw some of them away.
So with that roll of swiftness, I'm actually going to let you ride around and do that. So I don't need you to roll any swiftness. I need you to give me some attacks, please.
How many should I do?
Let's say 4.
Should I just roll them all at once?
Yeah, why not?
All right, this is gonna be fun.
Okay.
1, 2. I do succeed on 4s as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 successes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ones.
Okay.
So
So-
less
so-
than half as many ones.
So you kill at least 8 or 9 of these things, to the point where a lot of the other gunmen are sort of like, oh, this guy can fight, you know. So you're just like barreling in there. One of the zombies does throw itself at the horse and sort of drag it down. It doesn't kill it, but it drags it down and starts beating its head. Because it gets tangled up in its hooves. So the zombie's legs break, but it's still hanging on. It's trying to get to you. So you're on this horse that's going down. What are you gonna do?
I think I would try to try to hop off and do like a roll.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to recover. I would try to save the horse because I don't imagine they have a whole lot to spare.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd kind of just
you just-
hop off, try to roll off of it
Yeah,
into onto my feet.
and you just hack into this thing just to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Essentially. Okay. You don't need to do an attack for that because you rolled enough successes. So you just roll off and you hammer this thing. Alrighty. So that is dead. You've at least killed about 10 now, and the numbers are thinning out. The gunmen are starting to win the fight. A few of them are dead, and a few of the houses are on fire. But they are starting to win the fight. So, Dennis, inside of your little fortress there, are you throwing in the Molotovs to clear these things out? Because a few of them are getting through now and starting to charge towards houses and things. They don't seem to like fire
yeah.
at all.
I try to obviously not set the houses on fire, but if the zombies are coming towards the houses, yes, especially if they're coming towards where I'm at.
Okay. So, we are rolling strength to throw these Molotovs. To get them to where you want them to go.
So just strength, okay.
Sweet. So
I'm rolling well today.
So you guys are throwing pretty well, yeah. You guys are throwing the Molotovs and they're smashing against the floor, and essentially the last of the zombies are starting to back off, or at least like they're trying to avoid the fire, but they then run straight into gunfire. You know. Let me these things are starting to get back up. So, but the gunmen are falling on them and hacking them to pieces essentially. And so inside the doctor's office, you've run a few tests, simply because you know how to make Philbert, you know how to make a very quick blood test. In terms of the taste test does one. You're a Blackcoat, you can tell certain things about blood that you through taste test, and taste testing. This seems like
maybe taste testing infected blood seems like the best idea ever.
I mean, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to.
Yeah, I might not.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so what would you like to do? So you tell me how you've tested this blood.
Yeah, I would, I guess, decant it with various solutions.
Okay.
And heat it up.
Okay. So you're finding the more pure the solution, as in if it's lovely fresh water or anything like that, it reacts very badly. In fact, it explodes. Like the beaker explodes.
Interesting.
But if you even try it with like machine oil and it's fine, it's completely fine. And when you try it with irradiated ferrite powder, it actually reacts with a deep heat, and you can see the corpse that's chained to the bed reach out and start moaning and trying to claw at that beaker that you've made.
Interesting. It wants this. Maybe it's irradiated ferrite. That's an interesting thing for a doctor to just have.
I mean, you get it in just odds and ends.
I see, fair enough.
You probably come across. He's in the driftwood. I mean,
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Everything's irradiated out here.
Yeah, no, just ferrite. That must be.
It's only a tiny bit, like trace amounts. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not enough to do anything with.
I'm gonna hand it to the doctor and see what happens. As in, literally, I just hand the beaker to the doctor.
He's
the
still
zombie's behaviour.
he's still the corpse is still looking for it, but he gets very, very angry, like, and starts like trying to, essentially goes back into his normal, his normal state.
So he's angry, he's agitated, particularly about this particular thing.
It seems to you that it's more anything to do that's not you. He wants to kill, essentially.
Interesting. He doesn't want to kill me. That's interesting.
Well, you were hugging him before.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't. Yeah, I guess I was hugging him. I think we've got enough from this specimen. I think we can dispose of him, and I've got a good way we can dispose of him.
Okay.
Which will be, have you got any more of that distilled water?
He says, I have a tank of it. Why?
This might get a bit messy.
We do use that water to feed the horses.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. We want a bucket.
Right. And he goes and draws a bucket and pulls it over.
Right. So we basically stick him. Yeah. So I guess we had a box. Oh no, that was for the leg.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm basically just going to splash his face with this. I'm just going to splash him with the distilled water.
Okay. As soon as you do that, the corpse starts screaming and melting. So it's like you throw it over its face and over its chest. It starts melting, and this petrified ooze, looks like it's been congealing for months, bursts out all over the place, and the doctor jumps backwards and goes, "Fuck me!" And then he jumps backwards and he like just jumps up onto the cabinet. That's in front of the door. Now, you've seen worse than this in your life. So
yeah, I'm just gonna brush my glasses off and just and go. Nice. I will just be like, nice.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. My hypothesis was correct.
Yeah.
Outside, people are starting to gather now as the last of the zombies goes down, and they're starting to be chopped up. And the guys are standing around pretty dazed. And one of them says to you, Sangun, says, "You fight like a fucking demon." And he says, "What do we do with these? They'll come back."
Take them apart for now and see what we can do. Hopefully we can, wrestle up enough fire to take care of these enough.
He nods and they start like putting pieces in sacks. He says, "We'll distribute them into random sacks so that they're not together, and then we'll take them out of town."
I'm just gonna kind of nod and just kind of, I'd help a bit. I'd also like double check on my horse, make sure it didn't get injured in its fall.
The horse is fine. You do look up and you see that the house where you were staying, Ma Baker is lying on the floor of her doorway, and her head has been, shall we say, crushed by one of these creatures. That was then killed shortly after, it looks like. But yeah, you can see that that's happened. And a few of the other houses are on fire, and there's water being thrown on the fire to get it out. And you do see Filberto coming out of or struggling. He seems very excited, but he's trying to get out of the doctor's office. And finally, Filberto, you manage it. What would you like to say to everyone when you get out?
I'm just gonna say I know what they are. I know how we beat these bastards, and I'm gonna say they seem to have a very strong aversion to anything pure. The purer the better, which I guess in this wasteland is.
Somebody looks over at Sally, who's the girl in the doctor's office, says, "Yeah, you're safe, Sally. Don't worry, love."
Yeah. So as you can probably see, we operated on one of those bastards. It's actually somebody who, was somebody who died on the table about 2 hours ago. They seem to have a strong aversion to any. Yeah, they basically exploded when we exposed them to purified water. So, yeah, they will be destroyed if we can get them in contact with something clean, which I'm sure in this wasteland is probably quite hard to find. They also seem to react interestingly to ferrite. They seem to be particularly agitated by ferrite, and I'm not.
Ferrite?
Yeah, might suggest that this is a magical. This is something mad. This is no run-of-the-mill reanimation. This is some magical doing because some of these corpses, including the one in the doctor's office, can only be several hours old, and yet they've decayed as if they have been months or years old in what is already an environment where you are not very likely to decay in the first place.
Sangern's gonna put his hand up, just kind of like kind of put the pot like bumper, just like, okay, hold on. It's like, can we get to the point, Filiberto?
We need to get rid of these bodies, all of them.
And how?
We need to cleanse them, literally.
Okay.
Get them exposed to something as pure as possible. It seems to be the doc. His purified water should suffice, but I'm sure there's stuff in town that's similar.
I'm gonna just look towards the people who are kind of like. I imagine there's one or two people milling around.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, like kind of do like get to it.
Yeah, I'm also going to gesture to Sanger. I guess there is I assume there was some signing. I would gesture, hand signing or something.
Okay.
I would not want to say this to the crowd.
I mean, we probably have like primitive hand signals, but
Yeah.
as far as an actual language,
Okay,
like,
no,
you
only
have,
Dennis
you
did.
have,
No, I thought there was. I thought there was the order vigilant hand signals that they were using.
yeah, but we're not order vigilant.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah.
I was, or I thought I had a heavy involvement with.
Yeah, you did, but neither of us do.
Oh, I see. Fair enough.
Yeah, you got it. You know it. We don't.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give you a look that suggests there's more to the story than I'm telling you.
I'm just gonna kind of give you a nod and then get to work trying to prep these bodies so we can deal with them.
Yeah.
Also, is there a wall in this town?
A wall? No.
Okay. Well, I'm also gonna
Pretty
post a
stupid.
couple of lookouts in case that horde we came across earlier starts to make its way here.
Okay. So, yeah,
Well,
I don't want to be caught unawares.
They so they nod. To be fair, like, you're getting a sense that a lot of the guys here are just like shell shocked, but a few of them snap themselves out of it and they recognize almost like an instant authority. They're like, oh, okay. So they start organizing themselves into like little search parties. So one posse is walking through town, and a few others like dotted around outside, just looking around and trying to make sure that they have like torches and things just to make sure they can shine it into the night and see what the hell's out there. But the moaning seems to have stopped. So the moaning does seem to have stopped. Although the 30 or so that you found out in the wastes didn't turn up to the town. So
Yeah, that's why I'm having them scout just in case they start making their way here-ish.
okay. So one person says to Philbert, he says, should I go and ask the doc for some water then?
Yes, you should. Yes, he has. Yeah, yes. I'll just say yes.
Okay. 'Cause I'm assuming you said that out loud if you can't use hand signals.
Yeah, no, I said that. Yeah.
So he runs over to the dock and gets a big bucket of water. He comes over to one of the sacks and just chucks it over the sack, and the whole thing starts to melt in what can only be described as a horrific smelling sludge.
Sangard will probably be like, maybe we do that outside the town while he's just kind of like looking away.
As
Like,
much as I would say that would be a good idea, we absolutely do not want these guys reanimating.
Yeah, But we can melt them. We can melt them not in the middle of town square.
Fair enough. Well, I guess we actually want to collect. We want to collect the bodies as quickly as possible. We want to dispose of them all now.
I'm
We
gonna
don't want-
gesture towards the people who are actively doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome to help. You're welcome to help. As I probably like take a torso and just like shove it into a bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do they actually check if the town has any virgins and if it helps if they touch the corpses? Because holy water is a limited quantity. Virgins just can keep touching it.
Sure, you can try that. When you who are you asking right now?
Like,
Okay.
I'm just asking who here is a virgin.
Okay. And they all just like look at you and just look around like, we're in the wastelands. Like, you know, that sort of we got nothing to do but fuck, essentially.
Okay, I feel sorry for your kids then.
Well,
So,
yeah,
Dennis?
I mean, would they class as virgins if they're kids? Like, if you're 5, then yes, you're. I mean, but it's not going to mean. Normally, when a curse is brought on by a virgin, it's not somebody
Yeah,
of age
true,
who
true.
makes the choice
I
to
mean-
be a virgin.
I would have guessed that there's at least one woman who's really ugly in this town.
Oh,
I mean,
rude.
that's gonna take an investigation roll, and it's gonna have to be a good one.
I guess that's just my mindset.
That's mind and that is mind and let's see.
I don't have anything relevant for that.
Okay,
Anyway,
so be perception and mind.
so yeah, just mind.
We're looking for how many dice are you? Oh, yeah.
Not many.
So you do not find any virgins.
I'm just going to sleep.
Yeah, so you just do a cursory look for some virgins, then just go to sleep. Okay. So as the night drags on, you know the bodies are melted outside of the town. And the people who've already died, you don't know how they're going to return. So what ends up happening is they are cut up and put in separate sacks as they normally would be, and they're taken out to the woods and buried, essentially. There are woods nearby that are completely devoid of life, you know, and that is literally because the corpses are buried underneath, and they spread a sickness in the earth, essentially.
I was going to say that I would recommend that we treat them in the same way as the zombies.
Yes.
So we would expose
Douse
them to the same.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. The clear water supplies are getting a little low, so you guys are going to have to make your way out to the river at some point to go and get some water for the disposal of corpses. But the town of Tombstone is starting to congeal after that night under the strenuous leadership of the 3 strangers who have come to town and saved them from an onslaught of undead, essentially. I think that's a good place to leave it, because the next part is going to be quite long, and I don't want to leave it halfway through, or not even halfway, like a quarter of the way through. So I'm going to dish out some XP. Let's dish out some XP. So, swiftness, that is 1 going to Sangern.
I think Sangan just got a call.
That's fine. Dennis, 1 mind.
Ooh.
And Filberto, 1 mind.
Nice.
Alright. Well, you never know, they might blame Dennis, but they haven't had time to yet. So.
Yeah, honestly, if they do, I'm probably just gonna leave and try to find the bandit handout. Just like.
So, that's where we'll leave it for now. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, have a good one. Guys, stick around. I'm not leaving conversation. I'm just switching on the recording.
Yeah,
So have a good one, guys. See you next time.